are streaming live on wherever you get this amazing live, whether it's LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook groups, all the different places. I'm so excited that you guys are here today. And if you're here live, my name is Joe Applebaum. I'm here with the wonderful Jeff Goldberg. Jeff, welcome to the program.
Hey, Joe. Hey, everyone.
So, if you guys don't know Jeff, Jeff is a LinkedIn friend of mine, a LinkedIn connection of mine, and we've built a friendship throughout the pandemic virtually on LinkedIn, but then we actually met in person and we started building a real meaningful relationship actually in person. And one of the things I encourage everybody to do is actually get to know your LinkedIn connections, get to know them, build a relationship. So if you guys are live here right now, put it in the chat. Let us know where in the world you're dialing in from. I see Akshat is on, Alan is on. Welcome, welcome. So glad to see you here. And we're gonna, if you guys are posting where you're dialing in from, and I'll write it in the bottom. I'll put like a little ticker there. It says what city you dialing in from. Go ahead, let us know. Anthony, good to see you. So glad to see you. Anthony's the CEO of Manhattan Signs. Welcome, welcome. Good to see you. So, we're going to be talking about this idea of how to promote a webinar. So, a little background for all of you that are logging in live now. Jeff is a presenter for how many years? How many years have you been presenting to groups?
Well over 20.
Well over 20 years. So, he's a professional speaker. And 10 years ago, I was afraid of speaking. I remember when I watched him speak to a group of EO, I was so impressed by his speech. He was funny. He was with the program. It was valuable. I remember taking tons of notes. And he's so talented. The thing is, a lot of people that are really good presenters and are really talented, they know how to present really well. They have really great information. But often they don't necessarily know how to promote or fill a room, fill a virtual room specifically. Maybe they know how to fill I know that you do a lot of stand up comedy and usually you fill the room, right? So you know how to fill up a stand up comedy room. But in terms of filling a webinar, because I'm a digital marketing expert and I understand marketing and I have an agency for 15 years, there are certain things that I know about filling a webinar that a lot of other people don't know. So, Jeff, if you have any questions for me, feel free to ask them where I can just share stuff. But tell us, I know that you're having a webinar on Monday. Do you want to briefly tell everyone what the webinar is about?
Sure, absolutely. Thanks, Joe. First of all, you are an expert, and that's why we're here, because I reached out to you and I said, how do you fill a webinar? So I love that we're doing a webinar on how to fill a webinar.
Yeah.
My webinar on Monday is with the amazing Beth Granger, who you know, another LinkedIn expert who we both know and love. And we're looking to help people end the year incredibly strong and set up their 2024 for great success. So we'll be on well, we can put a link into the chat later on. We'll be on for an hour talking about those two things. Beth's going to talk, of course, about LinkedIn, and I'm going to talk about conversational selling skills.
Amazing. Amazing. So, if you guys want to tune into that, definitely check out the comments after and go look at Jeff's profile as well. But in terms of a webinar, I'm curious to know if you guys were going to do a webinar, what would your webinar be about? So, Jeff's webinar is going to be about conversational selling skills. I have a LinkedIn webinar coming up on October 12th about how to the LinkedIn workflow process for getting clients. I'll share my screen in a few minutes and show you the landing pages of how I get people to fill those out. I also have one on September 13th, how to use AI with LinkedIn. So I'm constantly doing webinars. Sometimes I do 5 to 10 webinars in 1 month. And people say, Joe, how do you fill the webinar with thousands and thousands and thousands of people? And what I say is, why do you need to fill the webinar with thousands and thousands and thousands of people? Like, because I want to go viral. And I say, going viral is great, but going viral is not a great strategy. You need to have a great strategy, which means you got to get through to the right people. Sure, if you want millions of people or thousands of people to join a webinar and you can afford to do that, then you can use advertising and you could use all forms of marketing and you can use affiliate marketing and you can use JVs. And I'll get into all those different strategies. But what I want you to know is that every person that registers for a webinar costs money. It's not just free to get somebody to register to a webinar. It takes something to do that. It takes time, it takes effort, it takes money. So depending on your resources, you got to determine what type of group of people are you comfortable based on your time, your effort, your money getting into a room? And what is the value of each person that's going to come to your webinar? And I want everyone to take a moment and put in their keyword in the chat. I'm going to be monitoring the chat to see what your keyword is. What would your webinar be about? So for me, my webinar is going to be about how to use AI and LinkedIn. So that would be what my webinar is about. I have another webinar called the LinkedIn workflow process. I'll put that in the chat as well. Okay, so I'm just dropping things in the chat, but I want you guys to drop things in the chat as well. And one of the things that I like to do is I like engaging people, and I like when people engage with me. So this is a conversation. This is not just like me talking to myself or me talking to Jeff. Me and Jeff are talking to you guys. So Anthony, for example, he says branding your company. So that would be a really, really great presentation that you could do. Mark says free food to draw them in, talking about free food. Great. That's awesome. I want you guys to consider and think about what is the keyword, what is the thing that you want to talk about, and who are the people that you need to talk to that about? Because if you want to promote a webinar, you first need to know who you're talking to, because you can get a lot of people that are irrelevant to join your webinar. But how's that going to help your business ultimately? So if you get 1,000 irrelevant people to join your webinar and you do a presentation and you don't get to your goal, I once read a book, Jeff, and the book said the most important part of a presentation is knowing what you want to get out of the presentation. Because if you go into the presentation and you don't know what you want to get out of it, what's the point of doing the presentation? If it's just doing, some people just want to practice public speaking. And there was a time where I said, I'm just going to do presentations just to practice and get better at presentations. And by the way, doing Facebook Lives helps you with that. Doing LinkedIn Lives helps you with that. Helps you become a better presenter. Just doing it over and over and over. But now we have dozens of people watching us live right now. There are dozens of people watching us live right now. And some of them want to know how to be able to how to promote a webinar. And I want to let you know is you got to start off with a strategy of who's your target market, what do you want to get out of it, and what is the messaging of the perception of what the webinar is going to be about that helps solve a specific problem for that target audience. So it starts with your messaging. If you just have a webinar and say, hey, everyone, I'm doing a webinar, please join. Nobody wants to join another webinar. Unless, of course, you're funny and it's comedy and they know you and I'm doing a funny thing and they know your brand and they join anything that you put up. That's one thing. But if you really want to get your target market to join, you really start to have that foundation. So, Jeff, who is your target market and what is the webinar about in a way that would make them want to join?
Well, the target market is salespeople and entrepreneurs who are good at what they do, but don't know how to sell. Because Beth and I are committed to helping them sell more effectively and end the year strong. So many people at this time of year, actually in about another couple of weeks, reach out to me each year and say, Jeff, we're getting towards the end of the year. The holidays are coming. I'm nowhere near my goal. What do I do? Because I'm a sales coach and trainer. So it's almost too late, but we want to give them some tips for actually doing that.
Okay, so you want salespeople and entrepreneurs that want to learn how to sell. Now, is there a specific, say, industry that you're targeting people in, or that you prefer to target people in?
No, what I teach and what Beth teaches, just like what you teach, it's industry agnostic. If you have to sell as part of your job or all of your job, that's who we're looking to speak to.
Okay, great. So finding salespeople on LinkedIn, so telling them something specific, like the more specific you can get with your message about the webinar, the more likely it is that someone's going to want to do it. If you just say, learn how to sell, then you're solving a general problem and people aren't as excited to sign up to something if it's just like learn marketing, learn LinkedIn. So for example, I'll share my screen and let me pull this out over here and then share the actual landing page just to kind of show you my landing page. And then if you want, we can look at your landing page as well, because this is where we're going to drive people to. Okay. So promoting a webinar is driving people to a landing page where they can register for that webinar. Otherwise, where are they going to register? What are they going to do? A lot of people, they create a webinar, but they never have a landing page for it. And if you have a landing page for it, what are you doing? So I'm going to click on share screen, and I'm going to click on this right here. So hopefully you can see my screen now. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
So this is the landing page. This is the landing page I was talking about. So if you guys can see the landing page here, I'm going to scroll down on the landing page. You can see it says, so first of all, on the top of the landing page, it says upcoming LinkedIn live training, right? And then it says our free live training is October 12th at 3 p.m. And then it says first name, last name, email, LinkedIn URL, and phone number. And then if you scroll down, it gives you a description of what it's about. It doesn't just say learn how to use LinkedIn. It says the LinkedIn workflow process for getting clients. So this is the benefit. Okay, the LinkedIn workflow process for getting clients. Do you have a step-by-step checklist for what you do on LinkedIn to expand your audience, nurture your leads, and close more clients? Having a workflow and a checklist is essential to being successful on LinkedIn. Joe Apfelbaum will discuss the 3 things you need to include in your LinkedIn workflow to be more successful at LinkedIn. When it comes to getting results, it's no secret that LinkedIn has been a goldmine of opportunity. But knowing how to be consistent on LinkedIn is a huge challenge for many business owners and professionals. That's why we developed a LinkedIn strategy called the LinkedIn Workflow that is presented to over 10,000 professionals over the past year. If you want to learn our certified Google trainer and AI expert job, please attend this presentation. And these are the things that you're going to walk away with. You see these actionable steps: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then you have another register now button, a photo of me, a little bit of a bio, and then more information with some testimonials. You see that? And the ability to register right here. Okay, so we have the registration button several times. So this is a pretty optimized one. I'm going to show you another one, Jeff. Do you want to see another one?
I do.
Here's another one. Okay, so this one is evergreen.com/AI webinar. So the upcoming live AI training. Join our upcoming, let me
So
see.
we're still seeing the LinkedIn training.
Okay,
There you
what
go.
about this? Now you see it?
Yes.
The upcoming live AI training. Join the upcoming live AI training on September 13th at 2 p.m. Learn how to use AI to grow your business. Learn how to use AI with LinkedIn. And then it talks about the details and it talks about the takeaways. You see that? What types of tools you need to use with LinkedIn and the ability to register. Very similar, different colors, different testimonials. You see that?
Yep.
And then good to go. So this is what's going to get people. I'm going to stop sharing my screen right now. This is what's going to get people to actually sign up. Once they hit the landing page, you got to have a really convincing place so that they actually want to sign up to the webinar. Okay.
Yep. And how do you get them to the landing page?
So that's a great question. How do you get into the landing page? So there's a variety of different tactics. I like taking a 3-prong approach. Number one is social media. Have you posted on your profile? Because people check out your profile every single day. Have you posted your webinar on your profile? And I'm gonna check. I'm gonna check your profile right now. Do you mind if I pull up your profile and share my
Not at
screen?
all.
Okay, so I'm gonna share Jeff's profile right now. So I'm gonna click on the share screen button. I'm gonna click on this. I'm gonna go here. As you can see, I'm on my activity. So I'm gonna go in here. I'm gonna look up Jeff Goldberg. I have his profile right over here. I'm gonna click on it. And as soon as I come to the profile over here, I want it to be really, really easy for me to attend his upcoming webinar. You see that? Now, I'm not sure where his webinar is on his profile right over here, but if he had a webinar coming up on Monday, I would want to really promote the crap out of that webinar over here. Now, it does say join the pros, which sends me to his Facebook group, which is awesome. But I don't have really any indication that he's having a webinar coming up. Let me see over here. Let me read his about section. Do you struggle to get enough business? 4 decades of experience. And he has his 2 courses here. And he has his podcast. I still don't see anything about his webinar anywhere here. So
Nope.
if it's important for you to have your webinar, I would somehow possibly feature it as something over here, or post about it, or
Yes, it's
have
in activity.
it's in your activity. Okay, so let
Yep.
me go to your activity. What do you want me to click on? View all posts?
Sure.
I'm gonna click on view all posts, and I see this. I see this. I see this. I see this. Okay, let's see. Well, you posted about a while ago?
I think 2 days.
Okay, so I'm looking at everything from the past few days, and I don't quite see it unless I pass
You're
by it.
almost there. Nope, you're almost there.
Okay, so this is a week ago.
I thought I had that. There you go.
Okay, got it. Okay, so by the way, when you share an event like this, I'm going to show you something interesting. When you share someone else's post, the algorithm doesn't send it out anywhere. So you just share this post as like that. You see that? You share this event. You first of all, you include a link to the registration, which usually that discounts the post completely. But if you just press repost with thoughts or share post like that, this doesn't really get anywhere. It doesn't really go very far. I'm going to give this a like just to give it some love, but this usually doesn't go very far. What you want to do is what I did for this event. Okay, let me show you what I did for this event. Can I show you?
Please.
And by the way, let me click on this link so people have it, and I'll drop it in the comments. I'm going to click on this link. Oh, that's
Oh,
not the
that's
right.
not it.
Let me go back.
Down a little bit more.
Let me go back. Let me go down a little bit more.
There you go.
Okay, here you go. I'm going to click on the link. Oh, it takes you to a Zoom registration. Got it. Okay, I'm going to take the Zoom registration link. I'm going to copy it. I'm going to go back to my own profile. I'm going to click on me, view profile. Then I'm going to go to my activity. I'm going to click on show all posts. And I'm going to give myself a little heart. By the way, everyone that's on here right now, just give me a little heart. Click on the little heart button or click on the little insightful button. I want to see some hearts flying. Okay, now I'm going to say join Jeff's webinar on Monday here. Okay, and I'm going to paste the link. I'm going to press post. And now you guys should be able to see that in the comments of that so you guys can grab it later. But what I want you to know is that when I'm promoting my own webinar, you see the way I created a separate post? You see this post here?
Yes.
I created a separate, so I posted the event this morning and it came up as an event. But then what I did was I also posted a separate post. You see that? And I tagged you and I tagged Gershon and Heshi and Julia and Dave and all that. And then I put a link in the comments of this post over here of the for the event, telling people to join. You see that? Getting people to join that way. So, and then I took this post, I copied it, and I sent it out to several places for people to kind of check out. Okay, so I promoted this event as a separate individual post, and I would recommend you doing that as well. Starting a separate post completely, do not include the link, tag a few people that are relevant that are likely to comment. Like I tagged you, I tagged Heshi, I tagged Gershon, oh, they all commented. So that really sends the post out further. Okay?
Got it.
And then tell a story. Over the past decade, I've conducted hundreds of webinars, but how do you fill a webinar with dozens of prospects? How do you get 1,000 people to show up to a webinar? You see, this is exciting. This makes people want to join. And most of the people that are going to be watching this video are going to be watching the replay of this. They're not going to be watching this live. So, I told you there's a 3-prong approach.
Yes.
I gave you prong one. Prong one is social media. So social media includes LinkedIn, but doing it the right way. I showed you the way that you did it, which is not terrible, but it's not the most effective way that matches with the algorithm. Just sharing a post like that and doing it one time is not going to work. You want to be able to share it a few times and share individual posts and kind of tell a story about it and then include the link in the comments and see how that impacts the registration levels.
And I've hung out with you long enough that I should have known not to put the link in the actual post. I'm learning.
Okay, cool. I would also include it in your about section on LinkedIn so that people can easily find it. Or as your main link under your name, there's a link for people to join the Facebook group. You can temporarily change that. I'll show you mine, what mine looks like. So I change mine depending on what I want to promote. I'll go to my profile and just show you how to change it because a lot of people don't know technically how to change it. By the way, if you guys are getting value in the chat, write value. Curious to know who here is getting value from this presentation. If you guys are getting value, just write value. Whether you're watching the live or the replay, just write value in the chat. So over here, I'm going to go here to my profile. If you click on my face, it takes you to my profile. And on my profile, do you see where it says Brooklyn, New York? It says Joe Applebaum, CEO of Ajax Union, Brooklyn, New York. It says 44,000 followers. On top of 44,000 followers, do you see it says Evie AI, try the LinkedIn AI? You see that there?
I do.
So when I click on that, that takes me straight for people to download my Chrome extension. that helps people write comments, write posts, and DMs. And my goal is to get 1,000 people to use this extension. That's my short-term goal. Right now we have 850 users, so I need to get another 150. And thank you for becoming a user today. I noticed that you were one of the many users that joined today, so thank you.
I love Evie AI.
Thank you so much. But Evie AI is on my profile. So the way that you change that, when you click on that, it goes to Evie AI. The way that you change that is by clicking on this little pencil. Do you see the pencil next to the LinkedIn logo?
Yep, I'm familiar with how to do that, although the rest of the viewers might not be. So please continue.
So when you click on the pencil and then you scroll down to the bottom of this dialog box, it says custom action. And you can include a link and then you can include text. So I would say join my webinar on September 11th, but make a note for yourself to change it back to your Facebook group after the webinar is done. So this way, when people come to your profile, you could just say, check out my link on my profile. And you could even write a post about it. So look at the post that I wrote today. Today I wrote a post. Let me scroll down to that post. I'm going to click on my posts and you can see all the activity on my different posts. So I wrote a post over here and I said, I want you to notice 4 things about my LinkedIn profile. Do you see the way I linked? I put number 2 as Evie AI here. And so whenever I make an update to my profile, I let people know and point it out. And hundreds of people saw that. And some of the people that engaged here also became users of Evie AI. I saw a correlation between new users to Evie AI and me letting people know that there's a link on my profile they can click on. So when you're promoting your webinar, you want to make sure that you're doing that as well. And if you do that correctly, you're going to get more people to register to your webinar. Now, do you have a registration goal for your webinar?
200 people. We've got 91 signed up as of today.
Amazing. Amazing. So step number 1 is put it on your profile, post about it properly. Step number 2 is you want to make sure that you are direct messaging people, letting them know that you have a webinar coming up. So on LinkedIn, what you can do is you took our Sales Navigator Bootcamp.
Fantastic.
So you can use Briskine, which is a tool that we teach in our Sales Navigator Briskine on how to use templates. And you can create several templates related to entrepreneurs, related to sales professionals, whatever. And what you can say is send them a message and say, hey, I'm doing a webinar on Monday about conversational selling skills. And I have a LinkedIn expert that's going to be on there too. Would you consider joining? And if they say yes, say my link is on my profile under my name, click on it and let me know if you can see it.
You would not send the link in that message?
No, you want to build curiosity. You want them to say, yes, I want it. And if they say, yes, they want it, because a lot of people, they just spraying and praying. And that's not a conversation. It's not natural. Nobody just throws at you saying, schedule a call with me. Here's my calendar. Like only spammers do that. You don't want to be seen as a spammer. You want to intentionally leave things out. So when you're sending a message to somebody with a webinar, I'll give you an example. Today, I posted for the Executives Association of New York City. I posted a post and I included a bunch of members of the association. And then I sent an email to 82 members. And I sent an email, said, hey, would you please leave a comment on our most recent post? I'm promoting the following 8 members or whatever. But I didn't include the link.
I get it.
Quite a few people replied and said, hey, Joe, can you make it easy for me and drop the link? And the people that didn't reply, I sent them another message saying, hey, by the way, something personalized about them, and I included the link. And it made it much more likely that many more people noticed that it was them. So they got 2 emails from me in one day, either because they replied and I replied to them, or so it's more communication. Now, I know that takes a little bit more time, but the key is for you to go through the process of having a conversation with someone. And that's part of the fun of getting people to register to your webinar. It's part of the fun. So if you want another 110 people to register, all you have to do is message 500 to 1,000 people between now and Monday. And then a percentage of those people are going to register. Okay, so that's just what it is. A smaller percentage, not everyone, but you're probably going to get 50 out of that, or maybe more.
Sounds perfect. I've got nothing to do between now and Monday except drink tequila and sit on the beach. So
And by the way, for those of you that are thinking, oh, we don't have time to do this, make time. Okay, so that's prong 1 of social media. The other part of social media is making sure that you're posting it on Instagram, you're telling stories, making sure that you're posting it on Facebook, you're letting people know, making sure you're posting it on your Facebook group, saying, hey, I have a webinar. If you're interested, let me know. I always like doing, hey, I have a webinar. If you're interested, let me know. And people say, I'm interested. And then you send them the link if they say they're interested. Don't just say, here's a webinar, here's a link, because that no one's interested. You want to pique their curiosity. Once they say they're interested, then they register. And a lot of people will tell you later saying, hey, by the way, I saw you were doing a webinar. Do you have the replay? You want to know who's hitting you up for the replay, because then you can follow up, say, hey, did you watch it? Did you get the replay? What did you think? Do you want to be a client? Type of thing like that. The point of promoting a webinar is not even to get people to come to the webinar. The point of promoting the webinar is to promote the webinar. Okay, I'll say it again. The point of promoting a webinar is not to get people to come to the webinar. It's to promote the webinar, because most people, they don't have time for it. They're not here. Most people are not available for it. But every time you promote the webinar, you're promoting that you're a presenter at a webinar. You're promoting that there's a webinar going on. You're promoting that you're a sales coach. You're promoting that you solve a problem for salespeople and you're talking to salespeople. So the fact that you're promoting is valuable in it of itself. The fact that you're going to get people to sign up, that's a bonus.
That makes perfect sense, Joe, because when I do my live broadcast every Friday morning at 10 a.m. for the Sales Pro Network, I have far more people who put replay in the comments because they watch it afterwards than actually watch it live.
So I'm curious to know which one of you are watching this live and which one of you are watching the replay. In the chat right now, whether you're watching the live or the replay, write live or write replay. I'm curious to see what is going on right now in the chat. And by the way, I'm always a big fan of asking people who they want to meet. So in the comments below, tell me, who do you want to meet? Leave a comment. Who is your ideal client on LinkedIn? Who is it that you want to meet? Put that in the chat as well. So now I'm going to give you some more meat. Now that we're talking about who you're going to meet, I'm going to give you some more meat. The second prong is email. Most people don't send emails to their list about their webinars because they're afraid that if they email their list, they're going to annoy their list and people are going to leave and they're going to unsubscribe. It's a huge mistake, because people signed up to your list because they want to get notified about events that are coming up. Now, you don't want to be spammy about it. You want to tell a story. Don't just share saying, hey, we have a webinar, show up. You want to tell a story. Say, I was talking to this person and this happened, and then I saw this and I realized, you really need to learn is that's why me and Beth got together and decided to teach X, Y, and Z. If you're interested in coming, click on the link below, blah, blah, blah. You're going to get X, Y, and Z value. You're going to get sign up even if you can't make it so you can catch a replay. It's only available now, limited space, create urgency, create scarcity, give a guarantee. And if you create urgency, scarcity, and guarantee in your email, people are much more likely to click on it. Your subject line really matters. So make sure to do that. So there's 3 types of emails that you can send out. You can send a newsletter email to your list. You can send an email through the LinkedIn newsletter feature. So I don't know if you know this, but LinkedIn newsletter actually sends an email to all the subscribers. And I saw you have a LinkedIn newsletter. I would create an edition of your LinkedIn newsletter specifically catered to your event that's coming up. And that will send an email to everyone. And then I would do one-on-one emails to people. Now, who are the people that you're going to be one-on-one emailing? Your LinkedIn connections. Be like, Joe, but I already DM'd them. So what? People don't always see their DMs. Only 58% of people are looking at their LinkedIn. So what you want to do is you want to send them an email and say, hey, I sent you a DM. Not sure if you got it, but I wanted to let you know that we're having a webinar on Monday about conversational selling skills, and I thought you can benefit from it. Would you like the link? Let me know if you're interested. Simple as that. Very clean. So you sent an email. That's a second prong approach. Most people will just never do that. And if you don't do that, well, you did that. Okay, good. Great. Have a template, get it ready, and start sending it out. And the third prong approach is what I call is a joint venture partnership. People want to promote you to their network, just like I'm promoting you to my network. I put you on LinkedIn. I have 44,000 people. Most of the hundreds of impressions that we're going to get about your webinar are going to be happening later. It's not going to be happening now. And I see that John is live. John, welcome. So glad to see you. I see a bunch of other people that are live here. Thank you for being live. Tell us who you want to meet in the chat. I'd love to know who you want to meet. And so the third prong approach is JV partners. Now, who do you know in your network that needs to email their list with this webinar? So first of all, your co-presenter maybe didn't do it.
Yep, she did.
maybe the people that registered to the webinar that you know are coming. If you look through the registration list, you can give them a LinkedIn post and you can give them an email to send out to their network. They don't have that. You could say, hey guys, if you happen to be sending an email between now and Monday, if you could include this blurb. There's a guy named Jerry Kahn who's a Vistage coach. And he said, Joe, whenever you have a webinar, whenever you have an event, send it to me. I'll forward it to all my members. They're always looking for great stuff. And he's looking for great resources to send his members. So I want you to think about that. Who are the people in your life that you can just send them a message, whether it's through WhatsApp, whether it's through email, whether it's through LinkedIn, that can create a joint partnership opportunity. And often we don't give our registrants the ability to write that they're coming. We don't even tell them, hey, tell the world that you're coming to this event. Here's a blurb that you can use on LinkedIn. Here's how you can invite your friends. Here's an email that you can send your list. And here's a registration link to send out included in that. So if we don't do that, people are less likely to just promote you because you're not making it easy for them to promote you. So doing joint venture partnerships like that is really, really awesome. And that's just another way. That's a three-pronged approach. So just to kind of review, because I don't want to overwhelm people with a million different things. Number one, we spoke about social media, specifically LinkedIn. Post about it, making sure that all that type of stuff that you're doing, that you're DMing and so on. Number two is email newsletter, direct email through your LinkedIn newsletter feature. And then number three is your joint venture partnerships. So making sure that you arm the current registrants with the ability for them to promote both before the event, but also to promote the replay as well. Because a lot of them, they don't have the blurbs and so on, especially if they thought it was awesome. And then we also, as a preface, we spoke about making sure that there's a really great landing page and it's also promoted on your actual profile. What I didn't talk about that I do want to talk about in general is making sure that your website, it has the links to your webinar on it. A lot of the times I go to people's websites and they're not even promoting. They didn't write a blog about it, which is a bonus, making sure that it's there, that it's SEO friendly, that it's being linked properly. I always have the same link to my webinar. So if you have a standing webinar that happens every month, which I think you have regular webinars on a regular basis. If you have a standing webinar that happens, you should have one link that you always promote. So for example, my webinar replay is always at businessnetworkingworkshop.com. It's always there. I always have a webinar replay available. So whenever I'm on a podcast or anywhere, I say, if you want to watch a 1-hour presentation where I uncover my secrets on how I create a LinkedIn strategy, go to businessnetworkingworkshop.com. And then people go there and they register for the replay. And now I get more juice from the webinar, And by the way, I'm also telling you that are watching here right now, go to businessnetworkingworkshop.com. And the live webinar is at evergreen.com/webinar. So it's always evergreen.com/webinar. So you can do jeffgoldbergsales.com/webinar or jeffgoldbergwebinar.com, which are probably available. And you always send people, go to jeffgoldbergwebinar.com, and they always go to the webinar, and there's always a registration to a webinar happening there. So every time you're on a podcast, every time you're pitching, anytime you're doing anything, you say, just go to Jeff Goldberg webinar, come to my next webinar. You'll really enjoy it. You'll learn conversational selling skills and blah, blah, blah. And it's so easy. So for me, I'm always telling people if they want to buy my AI course, I always say, go to newaicourse.com. I buy a domain for the thing. If someone wants to connect with me on LinkedIn, I say, go to joelinkedin.com. So for your webinar, if you're going to have a regular webinar, make sure that you have a URL for it and then send people there on a consistent basis. Get on podcasts, add value, put it all over the place, and you're going to be much more successful at filling your webinar. And remember, yeah, what were you going to say?
I was going to say, I'll expect an invoice for this incredible training. I love John Henry Bones' last name. That's great. And for the LinkedIn user who's looking for VPs or directors of facilities, if you're not already involved, go to IFMA, IFMA, the International Facilities Management Association. Should be a good place for you.
That's really, really awesome. All right. So I want to give you guys something else to put in the comment. But first, I want to know, what did you guys get out of this? Was this valuable for you? Let us know, what was the one takeaway that you got from this, whether you're watching the live or the replay. Put it in the comments. Let us know, what is the one takeaway that you got from this that is going to help you be able to get one more person to join your webinar. I'm going to tell a quick story. And let us know what value you got from this in the meantime so we can learn from this. Or if you have any questions, put them in the comments as well. But I'm going to tell you guys one more story. I think, Jeff, you're going to like this story. When I started doing webinars, I had a hard time filling my webinars. And part of it was because I was afraid that people should come to my webinar because I didn't want people to judge me. So that was in the back of my head. I wasn't a good presenter. I was scared. So I didn't properly promote the webinar. I didn't do all the things. I didn't have the courage to email people. I didn't have the courage to in-mail. I didn't have the courage to post about it. I didn't tell anybody about it. I kind of hid. And what happened is that nobody registered for the webinar. Like literally zero, zilch, nada. And my assistant started promoting it a little bit, and still nobody showed up to the web. Nobody registered to the webinar. So I told my assistant, let's cancel. And she said, Joe, maybe do the webinar anyway. I see that you're a little scared of doing it. Maybe do the webinar anyway, and then we'll just send the recording. May believe people are here. And so I went on to start doing the webinar, and one person registered. One person registered. And I was like, okay, now we have an audience. I'm going to have to really perform. So I performed for this one person, and this person happened to engage with me, and they were engaging with me. And I made believe there was a whole crowd. Nobody was able to see how many people here on LinkedIn. You can see how many people are here, how many people are commenting. But over there, I made believe there was a whole crowd, and I went for it. I was like, thank you very much, everyone. So glad that you guys came from all over the world to be here. It's one guy from New Jersey. At the end of the webinar, he sends me an email and says, Joe, I'd like to become your client. And he became a client of Ajax Union. And
100% closing rate.
And from then on, I decided that if I schedule a webinar, I'm going to do the webinar even if nobody signs up. I'm going to promote it, but I'm going to do the webinar even if one person signs up. So it's not about the masses. It's about promoting it for the sake of promotion, and then making sure that you're speaking to people, just like we're speaking to John, just like we're speaking to Anthony, just like we're speaking to the actual people that are showing up here, because ultimately you're having a conversation with a person. And if your clients are people, then have a conversation with that person. Now, I'm going to give you guys another tip. Now that I think could be really valuable. When people register for a webinar, often they don't add it to their calendar. And what ends up happening is if they don't add it to their calendar and it's not in their calendar, they'll get busy with something else on Monday. So let's say somebody registers to the webinar today. On Monday, they're going to get busy and they're going to forget. And they wanted to come, but they got busy. They had to buy a tuna fish sandwich, whatever they were going to do. So some people will add it to their calendar, but most people won't because most people are just not working well with their calendar, or they don't have a good executive function, especially salespeople and especially entrepreneurs. So what I would tell you, Jeff, is create a calendar invite, and all the people that register, add them to that calendar invite. You could add it blindly so they don't see who else is there if you want to keep it private, and just add them all to the calendar invite with the link to the Zoom registration there and a description of what it's about. So this way, it guarantees to get into their calendar, because if you send a calendar invite, they have the ability to accept it or reject it, and it goes into their calendar. So that's one strategy that I use that has been significantly helpful to making sure that people actually show up to the webinar.
I love that idea. And I hope that everybody buys their tuna fish sandwich at 11:30 so they can join the webinar at 12, because that would be great. We do have a question, Joe. There's no name, it's LinkedIn user, but he says, I get why a landing page is needed. I have zero help in getting someone to create one. I will need to do it, and I'm not super tech savvy. Is there a simple way to do this?
Yes, there is. So if you use Zoom Webinar, like Jeff's using, it has a built-in landing page that you can use. So the registration page is a landing page. You could also use a tool called ClickFunnels. ClickFunnels is like a landing page creator tool that makes it really easy to create landing pages. You could also use Kajabi. Kajabi is a tool I know that Jeff uses for his courses and we use for our courses. It allows you to create landing pages. MailChimp, which is a free email tool, also has landing pages built into it. And you could even use LinkedIn Events as your landing page. So LinkedIn Events could be a landing page as well with the link built into it. So there's lots of different ways to be able to do that. If you have a budget to hire a marketing agency to create a landing page for you and you have a website, then you can talk to me. We have a marketing agency. We specialize in building marketing funnels for companies. So if you have a company and you have a budget, we can build out a whole marketing funnel for you properly. And like if you really have money to spend, like if you say, you know what, I really want to allocate $100,000 budget, and I want to get 1,000 people, 2,000 people to show up to my webinar. Okay, you have $100,000. What are you going to do? So for that, I would say advertising and building a marketing funnel for that webinar would be essential. So there's top of the funnel, middle of the funnel, bottom of the funnel. Top of the funnel are people that are just kind of interested in the topic, but they're not interested necessarily in joining a webinar. So I wouldn't promote to those people. I would give them some type of a lead magnet. Once they download that initial lead magnet, like 5 mistakes people make, 5 mistakes salespeople make, they download that, say, thank you for downloading the lead magnet. We actually have an event coming up on Monday. If you'd like to attend, click here. We only have room for 100 people. We have about 90 people that signed up. You can sign up right here if you want to. And so it'll cost you maybe, let's say, $2, $3 to get the salesperson to download that initial lead magnet, and then they'll sign up to the webinar. And that's a way to get webinar registrations for very little. Because if you just try to get somebody to sign up to a webinar, it's going to cost you $20 to $30 per person. But if you start off with a lead magnet and a funnel, it's going to cost you $2 to $3 per person. So it's going to be a lot less expensive. Then what you need to do is you need to send emails, you need to do retargeting, you need to do reminders, you need to use LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. There's lots of different ways. And then in addition to that, using influencers and other strategies. So there's many different ways to get 1,000 to 2,000 people into your webinar that are ideal target markets. But if you don't have the budget for that and you're not even interested in that, let's say your goal is 50 to 100 people, or you're a little more aggressive and you want 200 people, then using the approaches that I shared and using your time and effort, you'll be able to get 200 people to register to that webinar. And then using the hack that I gave you with adding your calendar will get people to actually show up. And then it's about the follow-up, because people often show up and throw up, but you want to follow up instead. And so I have a bunch of strategies for follow-up, but I think we should probably do another session after the webinar on how to follow up from people that joined the webinar. If you guys are interested in that, just I'd love to learn. I want to learn. Let us know in the chat. Jeff, any final words? Any final words of wisdom?
Yes,
You're such a
of
wise
course.
man.
Well, first of all, thank you so much for this. Amazing value as always. I did not have $100,000 budget for this webinar, so we invested very little money and we're doing organic. But I've got a whole bunch of action items that I wrote down while you were speaking that I'm going to be taking care of over the next couple of days. And because you were so kind and generous, as you always are, allow me to be generous back. If somebody actually was interested in working with your organization, how do they reach you? Because you didn't say that.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, if somebody wants to work with Ajax Union, our digital marketing agency, you just have to go to ajaxunion.com. We actually have a webinar replay that you could watch on the Ajax Union homepage. It's our funnel webinar. It's 20 minutes long, highly valuable. Watch that. At the end of that webinar, we offer you to set up a strategy session with one of our strategists, and we'll be happy to strategize and figure out how we can help you. So if you go to ajaxunion.com, you can check that out. And if you want to check out our Chrome extension, we actually created a Google Chrome extension that's an AI assistant. It's called Evy AI, EVYAI.com. It is highly recommended. And if you haven't used it yet, try it out. It's very powerful. I'll quickly just share my screen just to kind of show people what it actually looks like. So if you go to the website, you go to evyai.com, you click on Add to Google Chrome. If you click on that, it opens it in a new page. Share this tab instead. And now you go here and you just click on Add to Chrome. You can watch this video. It explains how it works. This explains all the details and what it does. But my recommendation is downloading this app. Now, if I go to app.evyai, let's say you say, I don't want to download the Chrome extension. You could just sign up through app.evyai.com. And then you click on post creation and you can actually write what you want the post to be about. Let's say, for example, you want to say, write a post about how to promote a webinar. Okay, I'm going to press generate. And it's actually going to go ahead and write a post about how to promote a webinar that is compatible with LinkedIn's algorithm. So it's going to write a headline. It's going to write main points. It's going to write a call to action. You see that? Look at this. Attention all professionals. Are you looking to promote your webinar to maximize reach, write compelling content, utilize social media platforms, collaborate with industry experts, offer incentives, leverage email marketing, engage with your audience, measure your success, and then it gives you a bunch of hashtags and so on. And I could just click on the copy button on the right side over here, and now I have a LinkedIn post that I could use on LinkedIn about this particular topic. So you can do this about any topic. You can also go on LinkedIn and leave comments and many other things that you can do with this tool. But I just wanted to show you guys a new feature that we added today for people that don't want to use Chrome or that don't have Google Chrome. We're starting to implement being able to create content and comments and other information just on the website alone. So if you guys sign up today, you'll get unlimited access to it. And once you run out of your credits, you can sign up to premium. We have a premium version for a year for a very affordable price, which gives you unlimited AI content and so on.
And it's a great tool. And Joe, you didn't ask me to do this, but you've been so generous today. I can't resist. You mentioned earlier that I took your LinkedIn Sales Navigator course. I have to say, I tried Navigator twice on a free trial. Didn't get anything out of it, canceled it both times. I don't even remember what the investment in your course was, but whatever I paid was incredibly worth it. 6 sessions. I am so psyched about the opportunity to use Navigator to reach more people. Thank you so much for that. And I think everybody should be taking that class with you.
Awesome. Thank you for saying that. Really appreciate it. And if you guys want to check out Jeff's webinar that's happening on Monday, go to his profile because he's going to add the link under his name. You'll have the link there that you guys could register. So whether you're watching the live or the replay, let us know if you plan on coming. On a scale of 1 to 5, how'd we do? 1, we sucked. 5, we did amazing. Put that in the comments. Let us know what you got out of it, what value you got out of it. And please share this replay with a friend. You can tag somebody in the comments, or you can copy the URL that you're watching right now and just email it to a few friends, email it to a few people, say, hey, check out this webinar. If you ever want to promote a webinar, send it to marketing directors, send it to coaches, send it to consultants, and let people know that we're offering really great free information. Thank you for being with me, Jeff. Thank you for being a friend. Thank you for being a client. Thank you for being an advocate. I appreciate you, and I'm looking forward to keep promoting you for the near future.
Thank you, Joe.
Talk soon. Bye, everybody.